So Terry, what should homeowners be thinking about whenever to keep their home safe in fire season?
Well, there's two things you can think about is the landscaping around your home. What's that made up of? What are the materials that are in the landscape? Are they combustible? How you keep them managed and maintained, and then the materials that you have on your house. Some people have bought a house that maybe doesn't have the best materials, but you really need to assess that whole thing.
Okay, and what kind of materials do you have in this house?
The materials on this house are rock siding, and then what's not rock is concrete siding. So there's not much material on the surface that will burn except for the railing around the porch, which is cedar.
Okay, and even though that is cedar, the flame height shouldn't be that high because you have your grass manicure.
Right, the grass is very low. There's no shrubs that would combust right up onto that railing, and we do have some mulch in there that would burn, but all it'll do is smolder. So it's unlikely that would get into a fire, but you never know till you get hit with a fire how well your plans will work.
You also have your trees a pretty good distance away.
Yeah, the trees are trimmed up where you can walk under them. Even I can walk under them. So you've broken the fuel connection from the grass to the trees of a ladder fuel up into that tree, so it should not burn.
And Terry, just because it's green doesn't mean that it won't burn.
That's right. This thicket here is green, and you would assume wrongly that it won't burn. When you get into a wildfire situation with high winds and droughty conditions, this material, even though it's green, will ignite, just like we've seen in a lot of wildfires. Oak trees, this is rough leaf dogwood, these things will catch on fire under extreme conditions. So don't assume because it's green that it won't burn.
And especially in a thicket location like this.
Yeah, there's a tremendous amount of fuel. So when one of these goes up, and we've had them, I've been on a lot of fires where these burn, when you get these on fire, the radiant heat off of them is tremendous. If this thing was much closer to that house, I'd be wanting to prune this back and get it out of the way, because you'd be jamming this up on the house. Firefighters couldn't get in here. This is probably 40 yards from the house, so it's probably not a problem, but you never know.
Right, and ashes and embers can travel from this a pretty good distance.
Absolutely, there'll be a lot of material come off of this flying up toward that house trying to gain an entry point.
So Terry, let's talk about the Soffit vents.
Yeah, the Soffit vents can be an entry point for firebrands under a wildfire when you've got hard winds driving those embers in, and so the Soffit vents are something that is an entry point if embers get in there. And so after a wildfire moves past your home, you need to go into the attic and check those. Generally, Soffit vents are just louvered. They don't have screens on them, but it'd be better if they did a fine mesh screen such that, well, insects or anything can't get up in the attic.
So even though there is that mesh in there, homeowners need to get in there and look at it, because it could come back to bite them.
Possibly. The insulation normally that you put in an attic won't support combustion, but you never know. So you want to go into the attic and look.
Okay.
For several hours, in fact. Well, the Gable vents, which are high up, now those tend to have larger louvers, and most all the modern ones are fully screened, but that's something that you can't just look up there and notice that. You need to climb into the attic and see if you have screens on those. If you don't have screens, you need to get screens over those, because that's a very good entry point for fairly large firebrands.
So basically, you build a barrier with the house, and then you guard your entry points.
Right. It's just like a perimeter in a military or a law enforcement situation. Wherever the weakest point is the point you need to address, and make sure that you've done everything you can, that you don't get an entry into the attic.
Another thing to think about is this space that you have from tall grass here.
Right, and we've got a big space out here, so you see some interest on trying to have these, say, in 30 yards or something. I prefer 40 or 50 yards. What that allows is a safe place for the fire department to come in and set up their equipment, and they'll look at this and know they can come in here and they don't have to worry about burning up their equipment, or even worse, burning up a firefighter. This calls what's a defensible space, and so they've got plenty of room to maneuver in here. They're not going to get trapped. A lot of places don't have that, and they'll go by and look at a place that's fully engulfed with cedar and things right around your home. They're not going to go in there and work that, because you can't stop the fire under those conditions.
Okay, Terry Bidwell, thank you much. And for more information, you can go to our website, sunup.okstate.com.